So hey guys, and thanks for joining me for another video, and it's a very special occasion today. I've now hit, thank you very much guys, I've now hit 4,000 subscribers for the channel. Incredible guys, unbelievable. 4,000 people, 4,000 of you watch enthusiasts have watched enough of my videos and listened to enough of my rambling about watches to actually want to subscribe to the channel. I can't thank you enough guys, I really do appreciate it. And today, to mark this special occasion with my favourite mug and my favourite cup of tea and my favourite watch, I'm going to make a special 4,000 subscribers video specifically about Rolex. So who doesn't like a good Rolex video? There's absolutely no question guys, and I've said this before, that YouTube loves a Rolex video. For those of you that may have criticised me in the past for not talking about other watch brands enough, well, unfortunately guys, you know, if I make videos about Blancpain, if that's the way you want to pronounce it, or Tissot or Tag Heuer, there really isn't an awful lot of interest on YouTube. There's a very specific niche amount of interest, and it makes it very difficult to justify taking the time to even think about making a video unless you think you're going to get some interest. So, hey, Rolex rules, guys. The Rolex rules YouTube when it comes to watches. I think that's fair to say. The only thing that beats Rolex in YouTube watchability is wristwatch revivals. So wristwatch revivals, those videos, they're amazing, aren't they, where people strip movements apart and put them back together again. We find that so satisfying, don't we? But other than that guys, other than watching videos where movements are being pulled apart, everybody loves a Rolex horror story. And today I want to talk to you about a Rolex love affair. So followers of my channel will know that I had a love affair with Rolex. The Rolex that's on my wrist today is the Rolex Submariner, the 124060, the absolute bomb banger of a Rolex watch. If you're only ever going to have one Rolex, guys, get the sub, and your life is your own again. And this is the thing with Rolex, and this is the love affair that I had with Rolex, is when I finally got into Rolex, when I went from being an aspirer, a dreamer of maybe one day owning a Rolex, to actually being financially capable of owning a Rolex. In other words, when I got to a stage in my life and my career where I could actually afford to buy a Rolex, not only did I buy a Rolex, but I became utterly obsessed. I fell in love with the brand. I became a fanboy. And we all know what happens when you become a fanboy, don't we? Yes, you become poor. You spend all your money on Rolex watches when you become a Rolex fanboy. You don't actually look at any other watch brand. And that's what happened to me, guys. I wasn't interested in anything else. I only had eyes for Rolex. I played the Rolex games. I played the AD games. And I played them at the worst possible time when you could be playing Rolex AD games. I played them post-COVID because my financial ability to be able to afford a Rolex watch happened to coincide with a time when Rolex watches could not have possibly been harder to get. So I had to play the games, and I didn't have to play the games. Let me rephrase that. I chose to play the Rolex AD games, and I'm not criticizing Rolex, I'm not criticizing the ADs. That's the game. You decide whether you want to play it or not, and I chose to play it. I fell in love with the brand. So just a little sort of history of me and Rolex. So I started off watch-wise with the Explorer two-tone, the Explorer 36mm two-tone. That was the first Rolex that I got. And at that time, it was actually quite newly released. I was one of the first people, I believe, that was able to get hold of one of those watches in New Zealand. And that was in, I think that was in late 2021. November 2021, I got the call for my first Rolex. and that was the two-tone Explorer. And do you know what? That is a great watch. I know it gets a bit of a hard deal with Rolex enthusiasts, because it is a very expensive watch, because it's two-tone. There's a lot of gold in it. It's a heavy watch as well, by the way. I found that watch great, and actually that was my wife's watch for a while. Bought it specifically for my wife. And then after that, I got the call about 6 months later for a Sea Dweller, a 126600 Sea Dweller 43. We still have that watch. My wife wears that watch most of the time, actually, despite her diminutive wrist size. She loves wearing the Sea Dweller 43. She's inherited that. And that's code for taken that off of me. And she wears that most of the time now. And then I got into some really good territory back in, when was that? Early 2023. I was very, very fortunate enough to get a call twice in 2 weeks from 2 different ADs here in New Zealand for a GMT Master 2. That was incredible. That was absolutely incredible, guys. First, I got a call from one Rolex AD for the left-hand drive, the Riddler, the GMT Master 2 VTNR. Stunning. I then 2 weeks later got a call for a Batgirl, which is the, what's that one, the BLRO on the Jubilee bracelet. Got a call for that, and honestly guys, I didn't really need it because 2 weeks before that I'd got the GMT Master 2 left-hand drive. I didn't really need the Batgirl, but I got the call, and I would have been an absolute nutter to have turned down the opportunity to get that watch, because if I had to turn that opportunity down, I would not have got another opportunity. That's just the way the market was at the time. And then I went through a long period of not owning any more Rolex, and I got the DJ36 palm motif dial. And then eventually, guys, I got the Grail, the ultimate absolute Grail, which I'm wearing today, which is the 124060 41mm modern Submariner. Absolutely epic, epic watch. I've put this on the time grapher recently, by the way. I bought a time grapher. And this thing is amazing. It runs at plus or minus 0 seconds per day. The beat error is 0. In other words, the tick and the tock are perfect, and the amplitude is up in the high 200s. So it's running like a beaut. It's running the way a Rolex should. So where am I at with Rolex now? So my love affair with Rolex came at the expense of all other watch brands for a while. So what's happened? What's changed? Because I'm no longer in love with Rolex. So what has changed? So what's changed, quite simply, is just the fact that I got to a stage where I had finally achieved the Grail, the one and only, which is the Rolex Submariner. I finally achieved this watch, guys. And once I finally achieved this watch, which is for me the pinnacle of Rolex acquisition in my mind, was this watch, I suddenly realized that, hey, I don't need to be a fanboy anymore. I don't need to be obsessed with Rolex. The reason I was obsessed, and the reason I was a fanboy, and the reason I was in love with the brand, is because it was an aspiration. It was what I couldn't have. I guess that's another way of putting it, is what I couldn't have was the reason I loved it so much. But now I have what I want, and I've experienced what I enjoy. I've still got the Sea Dweller. I've still got the VTNR GMT Master 2. I no longer have the Explorer 36 two-tone, and actually I do have a little regret of the Rolexes that I've sold. That's the one that I regret the most, which some of you might find that surprising, but I really, really enjoyed that watch. But at that time, the reason I sold it was because I needed to free up funds to buy the next Rolex. And I think you'll all understand this. This wasn't me flipping it. I didn't make money. I lost money when I sold that two-tone Explorer. But I do regret selling it. I wish I'd kept it. And actually, if one were to become available in the future on the secondary market, I would probably very seriously consider owning one of those watches again. I no longer own the Datejust 36 palm motif dial. I realise now that I liked the look of that watch, but that watch just isn't for me. The Rolex Datejust 36 just isn't a watch for me. It doesn't suit me, it doesn't suit my lifestyle, it doesn't suit what I really like about watches, which is essentially divers watches. I'm a divers watch dude. I just enjoy sports watches, and so the DJ36, as much as I love the look of it, it didn't work out for me, and I sold it. Didn't make any money, didn't lose any money, okay? So again, I don't know if you want to call that a flip, but it certainly wasn't my intention to sell it, but I decided, didn't like it as much as I thought I would, and I just got my money back. I also sold the Batgirl. which a lot of you guys might think I was bonkers to sell that Batgirl, but I wasn't wearing it, guys. It was sat in the safe, it was sat in the watch box. I was wearing, if I wanted to wear a GMT Master 2, I was wearing the left-hand drive, and I think a part of that was because I just had a more of an emotional connection, and of course I'm a watch dude, so emotional connections are really important, aren't they? I really enjoyed wearing the left-hand drive VTNR a lot more than I enjoyed wearing the BLRO Batgirl. And also I found the BLRO Batgirl was just too blingy. There was just too much going on. It was just too... Of all the watches that I wore, that was the one that I could see was turning heads. That was the one that people were... It was catching their eye. In fact, I was on an aeroplane recently on a domestic flight here in New Zealand, and I caught a guy, and he must have been 6 or 7 rows up on the plane, and I looked down the aisle and I could see he was wearing a Batgirl. I could see it a mile off. And that's actually the first time in a very long time that I've seen anybody here in New Zealand just, you know, just basically wearing a Rolex anywhere. They're not particularly common here, I'll be honest with you. You don't very often see people just wandering down the street wearing a Rolex. And yeah, 6 or 7 aisles down, I could see this Batgirl, the Jubilee bracelet, and the ceramic blue and black bezel. I could see it blinging away at me. It really caught my attention. And that was, for me, with the Batgirl, that was actually a drawback of that particular watch. It's a lovely piece of jewellery. It's a sporty icon, I get that, but it wasn't quite for me. So I sold that. So this is a watch that will never get sold. This is an absolute banger, and this is the reason why I am no longer in love with Rolex, but we're still friends. And that's one of the points of this video, and I'll just flick that bug off of the microphone. That's one of the points of this video, guys, is I'm no longer in love with Rolex, but we're still friends. Okay, so that's the end of the video, guys. Just a quick update for you. A lot of you guys have followed me through my journey of purgatory in Rolex, my obsession, my love affair, my disappointment, my anger, my frustration. You've all followed me on this journey. The love affair is over, guys, but we're still friends. And I just wanted to finish this video by saying, look, if you really like the video, if you like the content, please give it a thumbs up. It really does make a difference to the spread and the availability of people being able to see this channel. I really do appreciate it. For all of you that have subscribed, fantastic. I can't thank you enough. And for any of you that watch my videos regularly but haven't subscribed yet, please consider it, because you'll just get a little notification come up and you'll see me popping up, my friendly little face here popping up, talking shit about watches. Please subscribe if this is the type of content that appeals to you. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm not trying to promote anything. I'm not trying to make any money. I do make a very small amount of money every month out of the advertising that will have popped up during the course of this video, but that's not by my choice. That's just by what happens with YouTube. But it's certainly not enough to justify the time and the effort. I'm just here to enjoy myself and have fun and share stories about my watch journey with you. And thank you very much, guys. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Cheers.